A mystery of the southern seas, of its coral-reefed shores so rich with life. A mystery that can be summed up in a dramatic question. Why are entire sections of offshore coral reefs being broken up by the undertow of the tide?
The Sulu archipelago east of Borneo, in Southeast Asia. These outrigger canoes, called vintas, sail the waters of the archipelago in groups. A mobile, floating homeland for the Bajau. This small, nomadic race roams the seas following seasonal fishing cycles. At nightfall, the larger canoes become floating huts. Boats that are homes for those who survive on the limited natural resources available from the sea. The Bajau ethnic group owes its independence to its waterborne existence, but it is a life of But why St. Anthony? Because in actual fact, he's the patron saint not of the Tunara, but of expectant women. As we already said, when the circle of nets is filled with tunny fish, for the fisherman, it's like a woman about to give birth. Sometimes the tuna are late arriving. Then the fisherman's love for the saint turns to annoyance and even anger. At that point, the saint is treated very roughly, and his statue is thrown into the sea, into the empty nets. It's either you in there or the tuna, the fishermen shout in chorus. We'll only pull you out when we see the first fish in the net. St. Anthony has been warned. It's up to him to make sure that the Tunara is successful. As soon as the fish arrive, all subsequent operations are carried out to the rhythm of the shaloma, a song of welcome. Shalom, of course, is a derivation of the Arabic word for welcome, salam. Underwater, two scuba divers try to drive the big fish further into the trap. This was an extremely high-risk job. A flip of the tail from a frightened tunny trying to escape could easily kill a man. The fish often weighed up to 500 kilos. When the ring of boats on the surface had completely closed the circle, the ring in the water was known as the death chamber. Using specially designed hooks, the men lift the fish out of the water, taking advantage of the huge fish's own efforts as they continue to try and beat their way to safety. The Tunara teams called this last act of the operation La Matanza, after the Spanish word matar, which means to kill. Another piece of evidence that proves the technique of the Tunara was developed from the experiences of fishermen in many different parts of the Mediterranean. The ring in the water technique, a means of catching fish that may appear cruel to the uninitiated, but which is based on deep knowledge of the sea. The tuna were only caught after they had completed their annual reproduction cycle. Today, in the oceans and seas of the world, tuna fish of all sizes, including females still carrying their young, are hunted indiscriminately. Fishing on this scale is relentlessly depleting the resources of the sea. And soon, the traditional world of the fisherman will be only a memory. The Tunara in Sicily will never take place again. The end of a tradition that has been passed down from generation to generation for centuries. And so, the ring in the water made by these boats has lost its meaning and faded into the past.
Even know how to make the little piggy.
C'est la folie, mon Dieu! Mais c'est pas possible, c'est la folie! How?
Hello! Today, I'll be making buoy vests, and I'll be using this big, ugly cod. I'm going to cut it up with my big knife. Into the pot it goes, and that's all there is to it.